What up, folks? Jiu-jitsu here. We are back at it, and thankfully, we have Coach Senika, Brazilian Jiu-jitsu Brown Belt, who's decided to be on the podcast today. I'm so excited. I know we've been talking back and forth for a while, and you wanted to get on and kind of tell us about your experiences in jiu-jitsu, what brought you to training, and just share some knowledge for our viewers today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for making the time. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
Uh, so, Brown Belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Tell me about that. You've definitely, had some challenges, trials, and tribulations.
Yeah.
What would you like to share?
Well, I'll just start, I guess, how I started. So, I started back in November 2016.
Okay.
So how it started was I was actually doing Muay Thai.
Okay.
Well, I was in a really bad relationship, really bad physically abusive relationship, and I wanted to learn how to like defend myself. So I got into Muay Thai. I really loved that. But then I would like at the gym I was at a gym for like a couple of months doing Muay Thai, and I saw people rolling on the floor, and I was
Right.
like, what is that? It looks so cool. So I found out, it was jiu-jitsu, and I was like, oh, I want to start trying that out. And I tried it, and I just like fell in love with it.
There we go.
Yeah, and I just completely cut out Muay Thai, and I just did jiu-jitsu. And then I was doing jiu-jitsu for like a month or two, and then I went to my other gym,
Okay.
and well, I was doing jiu-jitsu for a month or two, and then I had a really bad falling out with that gym.
Right.
And I went to my last gym that I was at, my past gym that I was at before this gym I'm at right now.
Okay.
And I was there for, I think I have been training for like 2 weeks, starting in November 2016. And then my coach was like, oh, you should do a competition. I was like,
Nice.
okay. So I had only been training there for like 2 weeks, and I did a submission only competition, which was like so crazy to like,
Right,
that's
right.
your first one. And my first match was like 45 minutes long. I was a white belt. It was
Was that
insane.
like Good Fight or something? Because they have Good Fight
No,
here.
it was one of the competitions that like it actually ended up closing down during
Okay.
COVID. Can't
Okay,
remember which
gotcha.
one it was, but it's actually the guy that owns Toro Cup. It was his competition. I forget what it was called, but yeah, it was a 45-minute match. I ended up winning it with a Kimura. But like I remember the entire time my coach was like, "Don't give up, don't give up,"
That's
and
the
it was
truth,
like
right?
me and the girl, like we were standing, we were like, oh. Like me and the girl, we were going at it. It was crazy,
When
but
does this
yeah.
end? I thought these were 6 minutes.
I know they got me because I did not know it was submission only. They
Right.
really got me on that one.
Wow. You said two
Yeah,
weeks into your training?
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
speaks volumes to your ability.
yeah.
'Cause I know coaches try to get you in soon with 2 weeks. Good for you.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, submissions
Okay.
only. Yeah, it was.
Awesome. Okay. So I guess that's when you caught like the bug, right? You were like, all right,
Yes.
I got it.
Oh my God, I loved it. But I never like saw myself like going to like the big competitions or
Right.
anything. I was just like, oh, I like jujitsu a lot, and I would like to compete like locally, do some things like that. But then it was like my whole gym, we were all about competing, competing, competing. So then that's when I started going into like the IBJJFs and things like that. And I went to Atlanta IBJJF. That was in 2017 because I got my blue belt in 6 months because I was just competing, competing,
Apparently, if you
competing.
can more in these girls
Yes,
up
I was
here
just competing,
first.
competing, competing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I
Nice.
got my blue belt on the podium and what's crazy is when I got my blue belt in Atlanta. Oh my, it was like the worst weight cut ever because I was trying to do the middleweight class.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and my weight cut was so bad. I actually had to do the sauna and
Oh,
2 hours before my competition. So like
oh
if you see
wow.
like a picture of me, like I don't even remember. I
Just
got
all
second place.
deflated and like your face is all.
Yes. Oh my God. It was so bad. I got second place. I had to go against 5 girls. And I can't even tell you like what I did. Like I don't even know how I made it through that competition. It
Wow.
was so bad. Yeah.
That's inspiring. Thanks for sharing. Wow, you answered a couple of questions I had, which is great. So will you continue competing then, like as much as possible, I guess, after that? Because once you get it, because once I got in a competition, it was early on in training. I think it was like the first 3 months. My
Yeah.
coaches didn't even know I was going to compete that day. And I
Really?
saw my coach at the time, my first coach, Ernest. He was just like, "Oh," he was like, "I can't stay. I didn't know we were competing, like whatever." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I mean, it's because you're here, but I can't stay." And then he had like a Slack channel for the gym. And then I was about to go on and I looked at the channel and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Sul, how's it going? Did you do it?" And I'm like, "I had one match with the guy. I got one more." They were like, "Did you win?" I was like, "Yeah, I got points." They were like, "Awesome." So I won both matches, same guy. It was me and one dude in the division. So I get back to the gym like the next week. And my coach is like, "Oh, let me see the video." I was like, I showed him. And he's like, "This guy sucks." So I was like, "What?" He was like, "There's no way you could do that on somebody who knew what they were doing." And I was like, "Wait a minute, like, it's this." He's like, "Good job, but we gotta fix your technique." And I was like, "All right, okay, okay." And then after that, like, they were already like, "Okay, is this guy gonna quit? Is he gonna stay?" But like after that competition, they were like, "Hey man, you should come on Sunday. You should come to open mat. You should do this." They were like, "Okay, you're serious about this.
Hmm.
If you're gonna compete, then why don't we help you compete?" Like, all right, cool. And I, even though I train at another gym, they're still cool. Sandy and Ernest are like husband and wife team.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, that was like my first competition. It was Naga.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Naga's funny because like you're gonna compete in 5 minutes. You're gonna compete in 55 minutes. You're gonna compete in 10 minutes. Like they're
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So you were, I assume you were coaching and whatnot because and when did you start doing that? Like, did you start helping with the kids class at some point early on, or did you know you wanted to teach?
No, okay. Well, currently I'm not coaching,
Okay.
but I never coach. I was actually really scared about coaching because
Okay.
for me, I just feel like with my jujitsu, I feel like I progressed so fast that I don't know, I always felt like of like a fraud when it came to like teaching. Like when it comes to like competing and stuff, I've always
Right.
felt like, yeah, I got it. But because I like got promoted so quick, like I got promoted to blue belt in 6 months. Then I got promoted to purple belt like a year later. So like everything's been like super fast. So I
Right.
never felt like I had the knowledge that other people had to pass on.
Right.
So my the black belt female that was at the gym I was at, she was getting ready to take over at the UFC gym, which is like the UFC gym and my old gym, they had like a contract where like all his students would always be the teacher at the UFC gym.
Got you.
So the coach that was there, he ended up getting his own gym, so they needed someone to fill in. So the
Okay.
black belt at the gym, she filled in, and she was like, "Oh, Sneaker, like you should help me out." And I was like, "I don't know," but I was like, "Okay, well, since I'm gonna be like your assistant, it takes kind of pressure off of me to be like the main person."
Exactly.
So I did it with her and I really, really loved it. And then she stopped doing it. They had someone else fill in and he was taking over. But then he, like a year later, he ended up getting his own gym too. So they came back to me and they're like, Sneeka, like, we would love for you to be the coach. And I was
Awesome.
like, yeah, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. But like, I don't know. It definitely took me a couple months for me to feel like, okay, Sneaker, like, yeah, like you have the knowledge, you can do this. So at
Right.
the beginning, I felt like a fraud. I was like, I can't teach anyone how to do
Like
jujitsu. Like,
what?
because it's
Me?
different. It's
It's
different
different.
than when, yeah, it's different. Like, if you're like, because I know, like, when I'm at the gym, like, someone will come up to me and be like, oh, how do you do a Kimura? And, like, okay, I can show you how to do it. I can, help you. But, like, having your own program and teaching, like, you got to come up with all this stuff. Like, you got to know, like, if this, like, someone will ask you, like, if I do a Kimura, but what if the person moves this way? Like, what about that? Like, you got to be able
Right.
to answer that stuff. So,
Right.
that's what was scary for me. I was like, what if I can't answer those things? But
Right.
like once I started doing it, I was like, oh, I got this. I can do this. So
Kimura, this whole thing.
yeah.
I mean, if they asked about Kimuras, you were hitting those Kimuras like, I don't
Oh
know,
my
it's
god.
competition, right?
Yes, I was called Kimura girl because that's all I would do was Kimura.
I love that. I thought I wanted a cool name. I think I'm just annoying at this point. That is awesome.
Oh my
Wow, wow,
gosh.
cool. So did you have any? I assume you did. Any instructors or athletes, whether they're people you train with or people you saw like in videos or online, anybody that really inspired you to kind of make you keep training, or was it all just your own sort of motivation from just doing it?
Well, I mean, okay, I know this is crazy. Okay, Ronda Rousey.
No, 100%.
Ronda Rousey was like my because I actually wanted to do MMA like so bad.
Right.
And Ronda Rousey was like my inspiration. I thought she was just so amazing, like
Yeah.
just doing her judo like and it all I know we're not supposed to be talking UFC, but I just thought she was so amazing in all her fights. Like
Yeah.
and I just loved her. And she actually I really wanted to do MMA because of her. And so I had started because at my old gym, they had started incorporating Muay Thai into it. And
Oh,
I was like,
nice.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do Muay Thai. But then like I would see my friends doing jujitsu in the background. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm missing this class.
Ain't
So
happening.
yeah, so that dream kind of went down. But yeah, she was like my biggest inspiration 'cause I just thought she was just so amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, that's one of those things. It's nice to have someone to like look up to and inspire you. It's
Mm.
like I'm gonna talk about IKEA for a little bit. Sorry, folks. Like in Aikido land, you didn't really have that because it wasn't mainstream. And if it was on the internet, like, and then there were probably instructors that were more realistic about that what they were teaching, like my
Yeah.
last instructor. But like, I mean, you couldn't just turn on the TV and your friends like, oh my God, did you see that judo match or did you see UFC? Like
Mhm.
everybody knows what everybody has an idea of what jujitsu is.
Mhm.
Like everybody knows karate. Everybody knows what judo is. It's like the throwing thing. Like
Mhm.
Aikido land, they're like, wait, what? What is that? Like, what the hell is that? Do you know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
probably the way it was supposed to be, right? It was always like kind of a niche, like members only society, I guess.
Mm,
So I think
okay.
that's really cool that you had someone like Ronda Rousey or whoever just to like inspire you. I think that's phenomenal. I mean, there's always
Yeah.
somebody that kind of pushes and motivates you. Um,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Cool. So you talked about some of your challenges a little bit. You talked about teaching, which was nice. I'd done so much in Aikido world with teaching. I wanted to
Mhm.
when I got into jujitsu and knew I was going to stick. Like after the COVID thing, I was like, yeah, I'm in. I got my blue belt. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to quit. Like I'm going to do as much as I can. And not to shame some people, but
I
everybody
know.
says
I was getting ready
everybody's
to
like, I'm never
say.
going to quit, and then they get their blue belt, and then they're just
Yeah.
down. And like it might be life, it might be it gets too hard. Like everybody has reasons, but those
I
folks who are just like, no,
know.
I'm good. Like that they reached their goal, and I was like, that can't like I gotta, do you know what I mean? Like something's gonna get in the way, life or like something. But I was like, I gotta figure out how to keep this going. Like I've been doing martial arts things my whole life, like
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu is like it because I can see that progression. Like I gotta stick with this.
Yeah.
So that's the thing for me. Like, and I have like great, people like yourself to inspire me. And like I haven't even met you, and I'm just like, wow, okay, I get it. Like I love that energy, and the community is different too. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure there's politics and things, and people disagree. Like I've seen it, but overall, I feel like one thing that separates Brazilian Jiu Jitsu from the other practices I've done is I feel like the idea is to spread the art. The
Mhm.
idea is to groom people to be able to teach whether they want to or not. The opportunity is there, and the
Yeah.
mindset is to lift and give back to the community. It's not all just like me, 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 I think. Do you agree to some of that?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh yeah, we got to keep the art going. We got to do this and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And then I guess there's the stuff at the really high levels that's like above my pay grade. But I feel like the larger part of the community I've been exposed to, and even people like yourself, are just like, yeah, keep training, do it. Like I
Yeah.
haven't run into any egos, thankfully, with people, even just asking about this podcast, who are like, no, I'm not going to do a stupid podcast. They're either like busy, they'll listen.
Yeah.
Like I want to name some names that are pretty notable that are just like, hey, I'm traveling or blah, but let me know sometime. And I just can't believe some of these people are just so down to earth, but so
Mhm.
huge. You know what I mean? So I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is new because I recall people like they're whatever degree black belt and the other thing, and they won't even talk to you. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
bro, like you, you don't have a job. You know you behind in your rent. Like, stop playing. But anyway, that's cool. So, you talked about some challenges. I wanted to ask you something because you mentioned self-defense, and I think a lot of people look for this in martial arts. And I know you did some striking too. like when you saw jujitsu, like you knew like, okay, I could defend myself for this with this
Yeah.
stuff, right? But was there
Yeah.
a point in your training like where you were like, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy the sport aspect of it? Because I feel like there's kind of a fine line between like what's applicable in both and then what's kind of like sports jujitsu that everybody loves, right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, I don't know. I feel like I definitely have leaned more towards just focusing on the sport aspect because like I just love competing so much. So I definitely feel like I've leaned more toward the sport. But okay, crazy thing is though, I got into a street fight once. Jiu-jitsu works. I don't care what no
Yeah,
one says.
I've seen all those
Jiu-jitsu,
videos of
like
homies
it
getting
works,
heel hook.
works. Cause
Yeah.
I got in a fight with this girl and she like dove on me into my legs and I put her in a triangle and I squeezed the crap out of her.
Did she go out? I'm not
Yeah, she
encouraging
did.
violence. Did you put her
She
out?
did. Well, she started biting my leg because she was like panicking.
Oh God. Did you get a tetanus shot?
I, I did end up getting an infection in my leg.
Oh God. Because that's what people say, right? They're like, "Wow, just bite you." I'm like, "Be careful, because there's some folks out here that will make you
Mhm.
pay."
Yes, yeah.
God.
But yeah, people say Jesus doesn't work. It works.
You're a
Like
real one. You answering some questions. I was going to say that for the end. I always ask people like martial arts versus self defense, and depending upon who you talk to, everybody hasn't had like altercations and things. Thankfully, I haven't had any since I've been doing jujitsu. Oh my God,
yeah.
people crazy, man. I thankfully, like, I don't care. Bump into me, step on my shoes, like whatever. I God, you got it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I mean that was yeah, I'm not I have that was years ago when I
I hear
first
you.
started. And what's crazy, okay, well, okay, the story is actually really funny. Okay, it's not really
All
funny, but
right,
it's
if you want
funny
to
to
share it,
me. So it was my ex-roommate. It was years when I had just started jiu-jitsu. So I was like brand new white belt. I think like I only knew a Kimura and triangle and armbar, obviously. So like those are my three weapons.
fundamentals, yeah.
So we had gotten into this big argument, whatever, and words were exchanged, and then we started fighting, like hair pulling, all
That
that
was
kind of
my
stuff.
next question, right? Yeah.
Yes, it had got really bad, but like I was winning. And then I went to like sit down, and I was like, "Yeah, that's why I beat your butt," blah blah. And then that's when she dove on me, right? So then she like called the cops on me. And the
Okay.
cops came and she was like, "Oh yeah, she's doing her jujitsu on me." And then the guy was like, "What's her belt?" And like he looks over and sees my white belt. And he was like, "She's a white belt." He's like,
I like that he knows, but the fact that, oh my God, that's great.
white belt. And I just stood there. And then they actually made her go to jail.
Wow. Was she by herself? Like, were you worried about friends trying to like?
No, no, no. I wasn't worried about no, no. But it was just funny because she thought like she could use the jujitsu to
Her
like
hands are
get me in
lethal, Your
trouble.
Honor.
Yeah, and the guy's like, she's a white belt. Like,
Oh
yeah,
man.
that's all I
That,
am.
were you though? You're kind of sandbagging.
I mean, yeah, I guess I was.
You went
I mean,
wrestling with your siblings or your friends all the time? Like what?
oh my god. Wait, what?
That's what we
Say that
have
again?
for kids. So I help these kids and teens. And when the
Yeah.
kids come in like super like athletic and able, I'm like, are you
Yeah.
wrestling with your siblings? It's always the girl. She's like, oh yeah, I have brothers. I was like, good God, are you the oldest? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, no, it's kind of. There's another guy. He just started 17. I was like, he's like, this is my first day. I was like, do you wrestle? He's like, with my friends. I was like, we gotta keep him because he and her. Like, this is like we're not really a competition gym, but like that's
Yeah.
the energy you need to push up the teens and whatnot. That's good because
Yeah.
it's nice to see that they have that like that energy to go, right? They're not really afraid. They're just ready to get out there and just have some fun. I love classes like that. I love it. I'm like,
Yeah.
let them do their thing as long as everybody can get up and walk after. The parents are good. I'm good. I'm happy about that.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm gonna ask you some. I want to get more into like the mindset of how you progress because like you said, you learn really quickly, which is why you
Mhm.
progress so quickly. How do you
Yeah.
how do you decide what you focus on in your training, right? Because there's things you like and there's things like you might want to improve on. Like, how do you balance like the I want to learn this technique or improve this, but there's this weak spot or this blind spot in my training that I want to.
Yeah. So when I when I went okay, the first time I was there, I was there for like a couple months, whatever. And I really I don't know, I didn't really understand jujitsu at all. Like I didn't understand like just even the concept, like, oh, this guard. I kind of was just going through the motion. So when I went to my last gym that I was at for, the longest time of my jiu-jitsu career, I was just going for like these sloppy takedowns or whatever. I didn't have any guard. So my instructor was like, you're only playing guard. Like you're not allowed to start standing. You can only sit down and play guard.
Right.
So like that's how I got my guard game. So like now that's what I do. Like if I like leg logs, like I'm not the best at it. So like now when I train, I'm only trying. I mean, obviously if I get into a Kimura situation, I'm gonna go for it. But my whole focus is only going for legs. So
Yeah.
like that's what I do. Like if I'm weak in something or like stand up, like now I make it because usually I'll sit down and play guard. But now, like, I make myself stay standing, like, and I'll go for takedowns. So that's what I do. I just always just, whatever I'm lacking in, I just make myself only do that.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah, because I've heard that like that's something I talk to my coaches about because they don't I'm in a weird spot and probably in a good way just because of maybe how I learn. Like I've seen my coaches tell certain people, oh, you should work on this, you only do that. And sometimes I'd ask my coaches, like, what should I work on? They're like, what do you like? I was like, excuse me? Like, what do you like? And it was like a
yeah.
culture shift for me because I was always used to like the curriculum and you had to test all the time. Like I didn't know I was getting a blue belt. I was just told this like I was sandbagging by one of the coaches, Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Really?
He messed with me. I swore this guy hate me, this black belt. Like his classes were so hard. Like I went to the advanced classes because that worked. And I didn't realize it at first, but they were like, no, you should he was like, you should keep coming to my class. And he used to just mess with me. And I didn't realize like that was just his banter.
Hmm.
If I knew that, I would have had more fun at the beginning. But I was like, no, I got to take this seriously because if I say something smart back to this dude, like I do not want to be in traction because he wanted to try the new loop loop choke.
Hmm.
So eventually, like we got really cool. And one day we were rolling on like a Saturday. He wasn't teaching, and he's like, how come you're not a blue belt?" I was like, man, stop playing. And this went on for a couple of weeks. And then one day he's like, no, I'm not playing. How come you're not a blue belt? I was like, isn't that up to you? He's like, yeah, that's really important. That's a good thing you said that. Don't miss my class for a couple of weeks and we'll talk. And I was like, okay. And a couple of weeks went by. One day, I remember this day. I was talking so much smack. I think I was talking to my buddy Doug because Doug
Hmm.
was a dude that I trained with a lot at the beginning. And I was just like laughing, carrying on, being like a goofball after class. And the head instructor came out, him and Steve. They're like, like so, and they throw the belt at me, and I look up and I see this thing. I'm like, what? Like, is this for me or is this for him? And they're like, you've been sandbagging, you were in this belt, and I'm just like, whoa, like surprise promotion. And then after that, I was like, wait, it's gonna get a lot harder. But then I continued to take dude's classes for a while before he left. He eventually moved to Texas. Well, I'm still in touch with him, and since then I've been like, okay, well, I can't take his classes anymore, but there's plenty of other instructors here. So there's plenty of people at the gym I connected with. But
Yeah.
that first introduction to him and that like don't take yourself too seriously is what I got from it, but take yourself seriously. I was like, all right, I
Hmm.
need to have fun. I'm in here like acting like I'm fighting for a kumite or something. Like, like this isn't blood sport, right? Like just so after that, I was like, I'm just gonna have fun, like enjoy,
Yeah.
be serious, but like, hey, just another day, another day of training, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a question I have to ask you. I ask everybody this: gi or no gi? I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive, but would you enjoy one more, or is it like it depends upon the day? You do both because that's
Gosh.
the
I love them both, but I'm definitely a no-gi girl.
okay,
I love no-gi
okay.
so much. Yeah.
Is your okay? Does your we have no gi days, but we have like no gi November, which sounds really cool. I'm sure other gyms do it.
Hmm.
Fun part about that is all the newer folks want to like try things that they probably aren't ready for it's like all the white belts are doing like single leg X trying to heel hook you. I'm like, bro, like what? Like, can I Aoki you back? Like, is that okay?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's no
Yeah.
gi. It's
That's why I love the gym I'm at now because the gym is like it's a no-gi gym. Like we have gi 2 days a week. And like every other day is it's no-gi. And I love that because
yeah.
we really focus on like doing legs and leg injuries. And I'm obsessed with that.
I feel like I love doing no gi because it keeps me honest. I have
Yeah.
Coach Steve. Um, I had this little thing with him and my first coach Ernest. Like when they come to open mat, it's primarily like gi, right?
Hmm.
We'll do this thing where they're like, "Hey, you doing no gi?" And I'm like, "Oh, pajamas or no pajamas?" It's like no pajamas, and then like we just like take our stuff off, and people are like, "What do they do?" And then we start the clock. If there's a clock, because open mat, you just go until someone's done with you.
Yeah.
So it's
I
nice
always
having that little
wonder
mix.
I've always wondered like why. I mean it's an obvious, but like most gyms are like predominantly gi.
Mhm.
Like, and I just is it just because like just people are just not really into no gi? Like, I just never really understood that because I know at my last gym, like it was like that where like every day was gi and then we had 2 days no gi.
I think our gym is pretty much like that. I'll tell you
Yeah.
my interpretation of what I've seen. I can't speak for other gyms, and I'm still
Yeah.
doing my training. I've asked some folks about this in various places, and I think it's just like culture, right? I think originally everything was like key that was like
Hmm.
defining line, and the way I look at it is there's something for everybody. I think there's more like I'm gonna call it old school. Maybe you can call it old school, like it's
Yeah.
traditional, more traditional to wear the gi, but then you'll see like I guess all of the like the Eddie Bravo gyms, right? Like 10 Planet, they're all no gi. And there's other gyms.
Hmm.
And I think if you look at it, I want to say to me it looks like a lot of the younger competitors go for no gi.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at some of the older folks, like I'm 39, like I grew up with like gi and judo things and stuff like that. But I think if you look at that, like that was just like the more traditional thing to do.
Yeah.
But it depends upon where you are. I've seen gyms kind of go into phases where they do more no-gi. So I guess it's just something for everybody. I have spoken
Mhm.
to some folks, some random folks who are just like maybe up and coming like me, who are like, "Yo, man, gi is the purest way. It's not gi, it's not jujitsu." It's like a fun conversation. They're like, "No, that's just submission grappling." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever. Call it what you want." Like
Yeah.
I am not the authority for jujitsu. I think this stuff is great. But yeah, that's nice. Thanks for sharing. Question I always like to ask professionals like yourself: what advice do you have for anyone up and coming in jujitsu? Like at any point, blue belt, white belt, whatever. Like, what advice do you have for them? Something you could share that they
Mm.
hit home for them.
I like to say, train as much as you can. Like, just show up and just train. And like, the biggest thing to me is, like you were saying, like, don't take yourself so serious.
Right.
I think like that's such a big thing because, like, I just feel like people like you're a white belt and you're like I have a friend and like she's a white belt and she's like I don't feel like I know anything, I'm not good, and I'm like girl, you're a white belt, like you're new, like just come and over time you're gonna get there. I know like you see like these black belts and they're like amazing and they can go inverted whenever they want and like you're not there but you're gonna get there.
Right.
Everything in life takes time to progress and get there, but if you don't show up you're never going to get there. And
Right.
then also I think competing, even if you just do locals, like competing I feel like is such a good thing to do because like when you're at your gym, like you're going against the same people all the time. I mean, and you're training, that's good, but like you get to test yourself and like that's fun, like testing like what you've learned, at a competition. And then you get to meet new people and I just think like the whole community is just amazing. So just like
Right.
putting yourself out there, maybe even going to like open mats, I think is
Definitely.
amazing because you get to like again test yourself with people that you've never rolled with.
Right.
So just like showing up, don't taking yourself serious, knowing that you're gonna get there eventually, and just going to just training.
I love that. Thanks. Yeah, I talk about that a lot. Like, I think that helped me gym hopping. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and my coaches encourage it. I had my I think my second competition or my third competition, my second one at blue belt. It was a local gym. Um, and it was all over the place. And the fact that like it wasn't by age, it was just by like rank, but closest
Yeah.
possible to belts. So
Oh my gosh.
it was great.
Yeah.
I love the internet because I posted one online. I'll send this to you so you can look at the comments. There aren't a lot, but there's
Yeah.
one, this older gentleman, and I'm not sure of his name, but thank you for that competition. Someone was like, "Look at this young guy beating up this old guy. Nothing impressive here." And I'm like,
Oh my
the same
God.
age, man. Like I'm 39. Bro gotta be at least 43. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but people are like, nothing impressive here. And I'm like, oh. I will tell you this one competition. This stuck out to me. This is just funny. That same competition, there was this guy I was working with, and his coach was there. Don't know the name, doesn't matter. Don't know the gym, but I've never heard coaches talk crap. And this person was like talking crap about me, and I was winning, which maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Uh, I was like, how am I going to finish this? And like, I kind of felt sorry for dude. And then I hear, oh, he's just going to stay there. He's not going to do anything. He's just going to stall. And I was like, okay, we going to finish this. And then it's like being a rear naked choke. Like something hit me. It was just like, all right, we're not playing
Hmm.
anymore. It's like, this ain't about you. And I look right at that coach too when I did it. I'm such a jerk. He's just going to stay there. And I did it. And I was thinking after, I was like, oh, I was like, all right, I guess I need to mean this. This needs to be
Oh
more
my
like have fun, but like I need to like not give things away and
God.
just go for it. You know what I mean? Because like all the Aikido stuff was like you're blending, you're spending all your time doing choreography. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the jujitsu part, it's like no, like you actually have to choke this person or they're not going to tap. Like you can't just get like,
Yeah.
takedowns and this. You can't just let people sweep you. Like you have to like you know counteract their movements and see things coming. That was like a big challenge for me. But yeah, I won't
Hmm.
forget that. I remember he's not gonna do anything, and I was like, "What?
Oh my God.
What?" After
I
to this
love
day, that
that.
person to this day, that coach still does not talk to me. I'm not gonna say
Really?
yes. I've seen this person. I've maybe it's just been
Oh
I'm
wow.
waving at someone who never like we didn't even shake hands after. It was just like a. I was like, "Come on,
Oh my
what are you?"
God.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe
I love that though. I love when like the other coaches are like talking crap because like like you said, just something in you is like, okay, I'm gonna just go harder now. Like I
I was just
love
like, what?
that.
Yeah, why me though? There's like a whole like, what did I do? I just got here. I hear one thing I love about competing is my coaches because it's
Mhm.
not always the same people there, but like the head coach was there and he was like just like watching all the matches with all his folks. And I was like, oh man, I wish Steve was here to watch. And I heard him like, you gotta do this, so you got like this very distinct voice. And like right when he was like, you gotta make him look at that's it, that's it. Like one of the videos, he'd be like, that's it, Clutch, there you go, so that's it. Good.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
yay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember I had this one coach. He ended up moving to Florida. But I was competing and he's never coached me forever. So I was doing the competition and he said, put that knee on belly in her rib cage. And I was like, what? He's like, do it now. And I did it. And I don't know. I love that. I love when you have a coach that's like aggressively telling you something to do. I
Yeah,
love that.
I love it.
Except I competed one time, which is funny. I competed when I did worlds,
Okay.
master worlds, whatever. And I had this girl and she was in my clothes guard and I had the Kimura set up, right? And the one coach, she was like, you can do the sweep, you can do the hip bump. And I looked at her, I was like, because I was getting that Kimura. I was gonna rip. I ended up getting it, but I thought it was funny because I looked at my coach. I was like,
Uh-huh.
no, I'm not letting this go.
It's like the pitcher and the catcher in baseball. They do like throw the curveball. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, no, you can't throw the fastball. It's like I'm throwing that fastball. I'm
Yeah.
like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had so
Mhm.
many. I mean, I've competed like a few, maybe 10, 12 times. It's been fun. I need to get back out there. Uh,
Yeah.
I am finding like a little bit of like the local competitions, which is why like I signed up for IBJJF. I got to finish my paperwork. Like I've heard about this happening where you get to a certain rank and then it's hard to find matches.
Oh gosh,
That just
yeah.
happened to me in like grappling industries. They're like, "Oh, we'll just put you in 170." I was like, "No, like I'm like 150. Like keep me in 155, whatever, 145, whatever, but like don't put me in 170 because it was 170 purple belt and then it was 200." So I was like, "Who, like, do you know what I mean? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you just like spread them out like jacks? Like, what happens?" So I
Hmm.
weekend.
I never get to do loco. I haven't done a local competition since. Well, like the last one I did, I was a purple belt.
Okay.
And that was when I had just came back from my knee surgery and I was getting ready for pans. And I hadn't competed since because that was in 2021 and my knee surgery was in 2019. So I hadn't competed all well, obviously COVID happened.
Right.
So, I hadn't competed and I just came out from knee surgery. So I was like, I cannot go to Pans. Pans was in September. I was like, I cannot go to Pans. That'd be my first competition back. Like, I can't do that. So
Right,
like I
right,
ended up going to was it Fuji in August and they let me I was refereeing and then they also let me compete. But
right.
I was a purple belt and they didn't have anyone there. I had to go against white belts.
Oh,
Like
to go
that.
down or up, right? Because they'd have to just give you like brown belts or black belts or something.
No, there was no one there. No, okay, there was one girl. She was a brown belt. But
Yeah.
besides that, there was no other, like, no one else my belt. So I had to go against white belts. Like, that's how bad it is. That's why, like, I haven't competed local since purple belt because there's
Yeah.
never anyone here, at least in my area, that's
No,
a brown belt.
I've heard and I didn't believe it, and I've seen it firsthand because I was like, no, I thought my weight class was just like a little more popular, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'll do. I don't have to do the old dude division. I'll compete with the young dudes. Like I don't care. But like, that was the last one. We'll see. But I'm trying to get at least one more in this year. Because like life and things, we'll talk about that off podcast.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
another question for you. This is what I like to ask people. Like, how do you balance? Like, do you do strength training and like cardio
Mm.
things? Like, how do you supplement your training and take care of your body? I think it's a big question because I feel like everybody has their little like cheat code. Like, you don't have to share all the secret sauce, but like, what do you recommend or what do you find works for you without giving away
I mean,
the trade?
for me, eating healthy. I know like because I've had some people and they're like, well, as long as you train, you can eat whatever you want. And I'm like, that's cool for you. I personally cannot do that. So like I
Right.
have to eat healthy. I have to get like a lot of protein. I try to get like my body weight of protein in a
Nice.
day.
Nice.
Like that stuff is like and like drinking my gallon of water like I personally I can't speak very well. I have to like eat healthy and I have to drink a lot of water and that helps like fuel me to like be able to do everything I need to do.
We
Yeah, I
what's your go-to meal before training? Because for me, there's things I either for competition or like or maybe every day or like open mats like a big day. It's like other gyms have this like 2 hours or whatever of just like mostly nonstop or like match here, match there. It's pretty consistent, right? Like, do you
yeah.
have like how long before training do you eat, and is there a desired thing you like to eat before training that like kind of gives you fuel and
No, I don't really have like a desired thing. I try to eat like this is probably not great, but I try to eat a big meal with like high protein like 2 hours before training.
things?
Like, I don't know, that's what I do because I don't know, I've tried doing the whole like, oh, I'll eat like a banana like right before training, and it just doesn't give me enough energy. So
Right.
like I have to have like a big meal a couple hours before training
I hear
to
you.
like fill me. Yeah.
If it's quick, like if I know, like I don't know, to be honest, if I'm just like lazy on Sunday and I'm like, I can't miss open mat. I'm not taking.
Yeah.
I'm lazy. I can do oatmeal. Sometimes like I'm just like so stupid. I'll just like have coffee and a ton of water and I'll just go.
Oh God,
Well, no, it's
no.
like my body, the way my body works, like sometimes those are the best days.
Really?
That's for competition, like I'll do oatmeal sometimes if it's really quick before. Because oatmeal
Yeah.
digest, I'll put like little raisins, some cinnamon, and like some maple syrup in it for like a little bit of energy. Um, and then like what I really like to eat, like on a perfect day where I'm not being lazy, like eggs are like I'll make like an omelet.
Yeah.
I love like I can do like an omelet, and like maybe I'll have something with it, or maybe it's just that like some orange juice, like have some coffee or something, and then like a ton of water, and then I'm at it. But I like
Mhm.
those things because I don't like if I eat too big before training or eat too much, I'm not gonna want to do anything.
Yeah.
That balance, but things like that, like I can digest pretty quickly, and they give me a lot of energy, and then after I can like do my thing.
I know, like my dad asked me, he was like, "You really eat a big meal before training?" I don't know. I have to. I don't know, like 2 hours, 4 hours, not like a huge meal where it's like it'll be like, I feel like
You're
I'm
not like
making it.
banging out like a whole like Thanksgiving dinner or something.
No, no, no. Okay, when I say
Like
big meal,
Sunday dinner,
it's like
like a Sunday.
proportion. It's like a 4 ounce chicken,
Yeah, yeah.
chicken breast, and then like a little cup of rice and some like green beans.
Oh, you
Like that's
are a
my big meal.
professional. You aren't.
What?
I said you are a professional. Like a
that's
fighter.
that's my big meal. So I should have made it more like that's my big meal. I'm saying.
Oh no, no, no. I'm saying that's great, and I like how you.
Yeah.
I had I'll probably bring her back on. I'll talk about one of the nutritionists I had on here that talked about that. She does a lot of women's health stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
Talks about men's health too, because obviously her and her partner are like bodybuilders and things too.
Okay.
Um, and I'll connect you too, because you'll have some fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
One other thing, so we talked about that. Do you do strength training? Because I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
do.
like how many days a week do you think you do, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So right now I'm not working, which is like amazing. So
Yeah, I hear you.
it's amazing.
Do your thing.
So so I do a lot now. Like I'll wake up in the morning and I go cycling, a
Nice.
cycling class, or I go to yoga. Then I'll come home and I'll like relax or take care of my dogs. And then in like the afternoon, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I'll go and lift weights for like an hour, hour and a half. And then I come home and like I'll have my dinner. Because
Nice.
I like, yeah, because I don't like, that's another thing. I don't know how everybody else is, but I don't like eating after training. I'll eat like, it'll be like something little, maybe like a bagel, but I don't like eating a heavy meal after training. I like to just like go to sleep.
I'm a night owl, so for me,
Yeah.
like I'm like lay it on because like I'm gonna be up. But I know what you mean. Like it's like 9 o'clock or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm wired. I'm like I'm up anyway. That's the only reason I can do evening classes because like when I started at jujitsu again, I was training in the afternoon, which is great. So like
Yeah.
training 3 4 days a week, 3 days a week, and then the weekends. Um, I had like 3 days in, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something, if I'm lucky, or like 2 days and then an evening or the weekend. So I'm like, my evenings are free. Like I'm feeling great. So I could, you know what I mean? Like normal human schedule.
Hmm.
But then
Yeah.
like, work and things, it's like, all right, well, you gotta do the evenings only, which is great. But that works for me because like I'm a night owl. So like I can, come back at 9:30, find something to eat. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, be up for a while and whatever. And with the way work goes, that kind of is okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm asleep by then.
yeah, you're smart.
Because our training is at 6:15. So I'll get home at like, I don't know, like a little bit before 8 o'clock.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
you're home before I even.
yeah. Yeah. And then I'm
We're
like
just about to start rolling
showered.
it.
Yeah. I love that the class is at 6:15 because like because I like to wake up like 6 o'clock in the morning and like start my day and like walk my dogs and then
Oh,
go
that's
to
beautiful.
cycling 8:30. So like obviously I am not good if I don't get like a good amount of sleep. Like I
Yeah.
have to get 8 hours or I'm just like not good for the next day. So, but yeah, I try to live almost every day or at least 5 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, though, I can't do like right now I'm in physical therapy because of my shoulder. I have like an impingement.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. There's something always wrong with me, but yeah, so dealing with that.
Okay. So one more question on and then we can probably start to wrap things up. So for how do you balance training with injuries? Because this is one thing I
Oh
like
gosh.
I'm old enough that I've done stuff enough that I know like, all right, like I just shouldn't train today. Like I know I could take it easy, but like I also don't tell people when I'm injured
Yeah.
because I'm at a gym where people try to hurt me. I just don't like being. Mr. Don't touch this, don't touch that, don't do this guy.
Yeah, yeah, me
Because I,
too.
especially in open mat, and I'm going to say this, we're all friends on the internet. There's some people who like, the guy who's like, oh, don't crank my neck because of this. And then
Hmm.
I don't want to deal with any of that. So I'm like, look, I don't not do your jujitsu, but I do appreciate when someone's like, hey, this is injured. I'm like, okay, I won't do that. Like if examples like someone's like, oh, my elbow or something, and I'm like, okay, no Kimuras, no armbar attempts. I'll work on something else. And if it's
Yeah,
not my game to do those other things, then that means I gotta expand my game, right? Because I should
yeah,
shut down because I can't do this thing on this person. Like, what if in a competition this person shuts down all those attempts? Well, then my jujitsu's blocked there, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you balance your training and your like when you're injured, and how do you know when to stay home and when to just
Yeah.
do it?
Well, wait, one thing though, I do also appreciate when people tell me that they're injured, but it kind of annoys me because it's like they'll be like, "Oh, well, my left arm is hurting." So then I'm like, "Okay, now I got to remember like which arm is left so that I don't hurt the left arm." I'm like, "This is too much."
I'm
Like,
so I am maybe I've just been doing this stuff to it. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Like I remember, like I have it in my head, like don't do this, blah blah blah. Because I'm thinking about all those things in training. I'm like, all right, watch out for this arm, do this, don't do that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking
really?
about my own stuff, like oh, like if I've like rolled my ankle or something goofy like that, I'm like, I'm going to class. Like
Yeah.
on an ankle brace because if I need to put on an ankle brace, I shouldn't be training. Folks are going to foot lock you, and you just got to tap. Like that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, that actually is the case right now. And Tuesday, I love Steve to death. He was like, oh, I'm gonna use Jiu-jitsu, and he did all these foot locks, and I was like, oh, he's using the other side, and he used that foot, and he was like, yeah, because I'll do this, and I was like,
Oh my God,
and like, you can do
no.
this, and you can do that. And I'm looking at the class because the rest of the class is like, get him. Because Sulzman, because I'm like footlocking like a lot of like my peers, right? Just like,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're just like laughing. I'm like, yeah, why are you really? Is that what we do? I'm like, like, oh yeah, you're playing with me.
Oh my God. But yeah, no, with me, when how I deal with injuries, I mean, like, okay, like with my shoulder, like I know, like I can go to training and I can drill, but I know that I can't roll because, like, I can't, I'm not supposed to do anything where, like, I'm lifting my arm over my shoulder. So,
Yeah,
like, if I'm trying to, like, push someone off me, escape, I can't do any of that with a big guy. So I just don't roll. Which, I mean, it sucks, but I mean, I'm trying to get better. So I don't want to, like, use, I feel like a lot of people, like, I don't think people understand like how serious injuries can get and how much it actually sucks. Cause like, okay, like with my knee, I had did a competition. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I did this competition. This was back in 2019. I did this competition and I don't know, I had got high before it. And I was, oh my God, when I tell you I was killing it, I was tapping girls out like left and right,
you were
right?
in the zone. You had the glow.
Yes, I was in the zone except until I got to the last girl and I went for like an inside trip and she ended like reversing it on me and I fell back and like my foot was under my butt and my knee just popped, right? But what I found out though was that my ACL wasn't completely tore right there. It was like partially tore.
Right.
But I was an idiot. I was like, "Oh, I can go to training still. I can wear a knee sleeve. I'll be fine, blah blah." Even though they told me like, you need to lay off it,
You didn't like
I
the part.
still went. I still went to training and I ended up completely tearing it.
Oh, and then you
So
need
it's like,
partial
yeah,
tear.
then I
That's
ended up getting surgery because I completely tore my ACL, tore my meniscus, tore my LCL, like had a Baker's cyst behind my knee. It was horrible. But like with that said, it's like if you have an injury, I just feel like just lay off of it. Jiu-jitsu is gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? But if you have like if your knee is like swollen or hurting and stuff, don't go to jiu-jitsu and be rolling because you can end up with a torn ACL like I did, you know?
yeah.
But I feel like definitely like when I came back from when I came back from my ACL surgery, I was really and I never played guard really. I wasn't like a pull guard kind of girl. I was always like, I'm gonna go for a takedown. But when I came back, I was like, okay, Sneaker, like your leg is still like it was it was like recovered enough for me to come back to jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't strong enough for me to stand up and do takedowns. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna pull guard. So like I just kind of started like redoing my whole game,
That's
which is
fun.
why now all I do is pull guard.
I listen. I found out all I had was guard. So I was getting smashed by these big dudes. I was like, just get the guard. I used to be
Yeah.
the guard, like Barry. I'm gonna call him Barry. I know you actually know it. Yeah, I'm gonna call him Barry. He knows who he is. He used to smash me. I remember the one day I swept him, and then I got in the guard. I was just like, "You're not smashing me anymore, Barry. This is it. You're gonna stop bullying this little white belt. Got like 80 pounds on me, treating me like that. Got me feeling like a kid."
Oh my god.
Oh man. Well, this is phenomenal. Thank you. I think if that's okay. It's a good space to stop. Thank you again. Do
Thank
we want to
you.
share your socials and things like that? Is that okay on here to
Yeah,
follow you
yeah.
and all that? And I can
Yeah.
obviously put a link in, but you want to do a quick call out and let
Yeah,
people know how to
so my
follow you?
Instagram is Senika Jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And yeah, and shout out to my sponsors, Ludosto, Main
Yeah.
Event, uh, Athletic CBD, all y'all. Thank y'all so much for. I really want to thank y'all because when I went through my knee surgery and I wasn't being active, y'all still stayed beside me, and that was amazing. So thank y'all so much.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to shout out to Fuji Sports for Fuji's Grappling Club because I had their brand ambassador thing, which I think is still going on. So thank you for that. They sent me some swag too, which is,
Really?
I love Fuji Sports stuff. All right, folks. Thanks for joining and tap in.